What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. There's lots of exciting news to go over here this week, but before I get into the news, I first want to mention I'll be doing my usual weekly live stream on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, so join if you can. It's always a fun time hanging out and talking cars with all of you. But getting into all the news here this week. So the first couple of things here are some fun SEMA builds. So first, Toyota has revealed two of their concepts for SEMA this week so far. And they're fairly far-fetched, so I wouldn't be too optimistic about these making production, but it's fun to dream and see what's possible with enough money and skill. And so first off is the 4Runner TRD Surf, which takes the brand new 4Runner and shortens it up and makes it a two-door, along with hacking the back roof off to provide backseat passengers a fully open air experience while still having room for a surfboard, as you can see. It also has some other cool touches like the paint job and graphics, which give it an 80s vibe. And so, yeah, I just wish they would build that. But the other one is called the Land Cruiser Rocks, and it was made by Toyota's Calty Design Studio. And it makes even more drastic modifications to this Land Cruiser here, including the chopping off of the back roof, adding in more reinforcements, which is interesting that they're worried about structural rigidity in a show car. So, I mean, again, I'd be really foolish to even think we have a shot of this thing ever happening, but it's just interesting that they did reinforce it. A little bit more of an OEM, take than a usual show car. But anyway, they also engineered a power soft top for this thing, and also made new half doors and a half tailgate, along with wider fenders and steel bumpers, and of course added on beefier tires and a big light bar. So to me, especially like the half doors and the bumpers and stuff, could envision some dealer add-on accessories potentially they could add on for a Land Cruiser if there was enough demand and enough people wanted to see this kind of stuff. And so we'll see what the response is like to some of that, but very cool concepts, and we'll see if Toyota has anything more up their sleeve here for SEMA when it starts next week. For another cool SEMA build though, Nissan has partnered with Forsberg Racing to build this drift-ready Frontier called the Frontier Tarmac. So it takes a Frontier and slams it to the ground, throws a supercharger onto the V6 to bump power to 440 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, and there's various other performance hardware to back it up, of course, along with fun Recaro seats inside. And obviously this is, again, a little too extreme. This is an actual purpose-built drift car, so nothing that will hint at a production vehicle. But, I mean, it's not crazy with the modifications to the engine, and it'd be fun to see Nissan offer, a dealer-installed supercharger for Frontiers. Even for Pro 4X could be kind of a fun, competitor to the Ranger Raptor and stuff like that to offer this. And maybe there's a hint there. Nissan in the past has hinted at future powertrains with SEMA cars. We first saw back in 2018 a Nissan 370Z with the motor that eventually was put into the new Z. So maybe, they're dabbling with the idea of trying to up the power to further compete with, all those high-powered mid-sized trucks. We'll see. But anyway, a very cool little build nonetheless. Moving beyond the SEMA stuff for now, Cadillac has revealed the 2026 Lyriq V this week. And when I say revealed, we just have two pictures and not a whole lot else for now. But it's their first electric V, of course. And so there's a short teaser video that gives a few more bits of info here beyond just the two pictures. But as for those two pictures, they show a slightly more aggressive style to the Lyriq here, in line with other regular Vs, with some subtle but, substantial changes. But it's definitely, a little more low profile, I'd say, than a lot of the other performance EVs out there. And the video shows off Brembo front brakes like other Vs once again, and the inclusion of a V button there on the Lyriq steering wheel. And of course it'll be fast as well, but how fast remains a mystery, because Cadillac has only said that it pushes the performance pedigree of the V-Series sub-brand to new heights. It's a safe bet that anything this thing does power-wise is going to be more power than a regular V makes from, the others in the lineup, I guess excluding the Cadillac Escalade V. But as far as CT5 and CT4, this will probably do more power than those. And so as far as the powertrain, the best guess right now is it's going to be the same motor setup you get in Blazer SS EV, which does 557 horsepower. Regular Lyriq already does 500 horsepower in its top trim. So 557 is an appropriate bump, I'd say, for, again, just a regular V, not the Blackwing. that's a safe bet. Maybe they'll squeeze a few more horsepower out of it just to give it, top status there, so it doesn't merely match the Chevy. But yeah, they say more info will be arriving early next year, so we will have to wait and see about that. But I'm curious to see how they bring V into an electric era, and hoping they do it well. So anyway, cool to see that. And Kia has revealed their Tasman midsize pickup truck here for global markets, not coming to the US. But before I show you the image, I'll warn you that it is a bit of an ugly duckling, so you want to avert your gaze and just listen if you don't like seeing vehicles that are not good looking, in my opinion. So here it is. Thankfully, we don't have to look at it on the streets of North America, with Kia saying it'll only be sold in South Korea, Australia, the Middle East, and Africa. In those places, it'll be offered in both single and double cab sizes, and even a chassis cab version for commercial use. And speaking of the chassis, it's a true body-on-frame midsize truck with the option of rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, a low range, a locking rear diff, a double wishbone for the front suspension, and a solid rear axle and leaf springs in the back. It even amazingly is offered with a 6-speed manual in some markets, along with an 8-speed automatic option as well. And in South Korea, it'll use the same 2.5-liter turbo motor as the Santa Cruz and other Hyundai Group products. In Australia, it'll be diesel only with a 2.2-liter turbo diesel. In the Middle East and Africa, we'll get a pick between these two engines. And they didn't say which engines pair to which, but unless they actually came up with a manual for the 2.5-liter turbo motor that we see in all these other, Hyundai Group products, chances are I'm pretty sure the turbo diesel is the only one to get the manual, but we will see. Anyway, max tow rating is 7,716 pounds, and payload is up to 2,635 pounds. It can also afford 31.5 inches of water and has a variety of off-road focused drive modes. Inside is a lot better looking, with Kia's new double 12.3-inch screens connected by a 5-inch HVAC screen, just like we see in the EV9. There's some cool truck touches with the design of things like the door handles there, the steering wheel, seats, center armrest, all of that is a little bit more rugged with the appearance at least. And Kia also claims it'll have best-in-class headroom, shoulder room, and second-row legroom, importantly. And it'll arrive first in South Korea in the first half of 2025, followed by the other markets sometime after that. And for anyone still hoping for a truck from Kia here for North America, there's supposedly a different electric truck that is planned potentially for 2027. And if they can find a way to build that somewhere in North America, then, they could avoid the chicken tax and bring that over here. So we'll see about that one, but very interesting to see that vehicle. And I think even Kia admitted, it takes some getting used to. And I think that is an understatement. But anyway, Hyundai has revealed also the first teasers for what is hopefully going to be a much better looking vehicle, the Ioniq 9. And this is their version of the electric 3-row SUV like the Kia EV9. And so they say it'll debut this month here in November. They didn't say where yet, but it'll likely be at the LA Auto Show is my guess. And although I believe there's also a Chinese auto show going on this month too. So it could be one or the other or both. And so I'd expect styling similar to the 7 concept that we saw 3 years ago, and the powertrain and battery options will most likely mirror the EV9 most likely as well. So anyway, we'll stay tuned for that. Hyundai has also revealed the Initium hydrogen fuel cell SUV, and they say this vehicle also previews their new design language for Hyundai in general. And so let me know your thoughts on it overall, but I think it actually looks pretty good personally, with a hint of the Envision 74 in the front there, and a very interesting side and back. Maybe it's just me, but that back half reminds me of a Pontiac Aztek, between the cheese grater kind of door thing and that 3/4 shot, the rear quarter panel area, all that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm just seeing a little bit of Aztek. Even in the back end, rear part of it, it seems like it's a little bit more Aztek to me. But I think it actually looks pretty good. So I'm not saying that as a degrading comment. I mean, but it's, to me, the kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Let me know. Very curious if any of you see Aztek in that as well. But as far as the vehicle itself here, because this is hydrogen, it'll replace the Nexo most likely as, the fuel cell SUV that they, currently have on sale. This will be the new one. And they claim over 400 miles of range, 201 horsepower, and refueling in less than 5 minutes. That's assuming you can find one of the very rare filling stations. There's only 54 in the US, and I think 53 of those are in California. So yeah, but there's no interior shots yet for this, but it'll be shown at the LA Auto Show, they say, for this one in a few weeks, and they say a new model based on this concept is coming very soon. So soon that they say it'll go into production in the first half of 2025. So, I mean, I don't know, I would just, why isn't this just the production version? Any other vehicle, if it's going into production in the first half in, 6 months or less, basically, typically you're just going to show the production version at this point in time. But yeah, so we'll see how they end up playing that one. But I think it's a really cool look, especially up front there, and so cool to see that. Porsche's CFO had a pretty big announcement here on their quarterly earnings call this week. They revealed that the new 911 Turbo coming next year will also get hybridized, and just like the GTS they recently debuted, it'll be confirmed actually be using the same battery tech and with the same supplier as the stuff they use in the GTS. So I mean, the conservative safe bet here is that it's going to just use the GTS hybrid system and toss it into the turbo and, use the turbo's more powerful engine and call it a day. Maybe there's more to it than that. We will see. And Porsche, whenever they were reached for comment by Motor One and others, didn't confirm that this is what's happening, or at least confirm the timeline of it. They confirmed that yes, we're doing a new turbo, obviously, but they didn't really say anything beyond that. But on the earnings call, they were literally we're doing a new 911 turbo with a hybrid thing, and said that it's coming in 2025. So anyway, get prepared for that. But just 7 months ago, McLaren was fully purchased by a sovereign wealth fund in Bahrain there, and yet this week, a group called CYVN Holdings in Abu Dhabi has agreed to take over not only the entire road car side. It's, I guess, a non-binding agreement, but the plan is for them to completely take over from this other fund here. And that they were going to take over the road side and also get a non-controlling stake in the whole McLaren group, which includes the racing division of the company. And so the sellers say this transformative investment by CYVN Holdings would bring access to additional capital, advanced engineering expertise, and pioneering technology, particularly in the field of electric vehicles. Which first, it's surprising to hear that they care about electrification at all, considering the way the supercar market is going, of being more analog, less electrified in many ways. I mean, with some exceptions, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest in, EV supercars right now. Sure, that will change, and, again, these companies got to think way far down the road. But, it's a little surprising to hear, in the current times we're in here. But it's great to hear that McLaren will have more resources. And this is also a bit mysterious because they're talking about this, holding company having advanced engineering expertise. I don't know if they're just hiring on, or they plan to hire on and poach people from other, companies that are, very prestigious engineers or whatever the case is, or if this holding group is some kind of veil for some other company, or I don't know, it just seems a little mysterious to me as far as, the inclusion of the fact that this holding company, a generic financial thing, apparently has a bunch of engineering expertise and all this other stuff. So we will see. I think there's more to be determined, and more info will hopefully come out about that. But, if it positions McLaren for a brighter future, then sounds good to me, and very curious to hear more about that. And for the last news story here this week, this one's an especially fun one in my opinion. If you're a fan of cars that pay homage to movies, and especially for all the 007 fans out there, Rolls-Royce this week announced that they're following Aston Martin with their own Goldfinger car to celebrate the movie's 60th anniversary. So this one is just a one-off, though, done by their bespoke division called the Rolls-Royce Phantom Goldfinger. So for those unfamiliar with the movie, this one pays homage to the 1937 Rolls-Royce Phantom 3 that was owned by the villain in the movie, and it took 3 years to bring this to life. So the attention to detail in this thing is wild. I venture to say this is the most extensive movie homage car I think I've ever seen. I mean, it's Rolls-Royce, so it's to be expected. But so the color combo that's, unique, and the unique wheels are just the beginning. So inside, listen to this. The dash took a full year to create, being a contoured map of the Furka Pass in Switzerland, where James Bond chases the Rolls-Royce. And even crazier, the Starlight headliner is customized not only with gold lights, which would be predictable, but with the exact night sky constellation that would have been seen over that pass on July 11th, 1964, which was the last day of filming in Switzerland for the movie. That is insane. I don't even know how they figure that out, but that is very impressive. That is just wild to me. The rest of it is a bit more simple, with gold plating covering much of the metal inside and outside of the vehicle, with even the VIN plate covered in 24 karat gold. The glove box also has more gold, along with a quote from the villain. The door-mounted umbrellas match the ones in the movie. There's also a gold-plated golf club that also matches the one in the movie once again. And they even made a secret center console in the car that holds an actual solid 18 karat gold bar, which itself is alone probably worth around $500,000 for just they just threw a gold bar in there that's shaped like the car just for fun. That's like really crazy money to just do that. Just like, oh, this is a fun little touch. Another $500,000. Anyway, the trunk also features 2 picnic tables with a fictional map of Fort Knox on it, which took 6 months to make as well. And as a nod to the tracking device that Bond put in the original car's trunk, it projects the 007 logo onto the trunk floor. Lastly, the very wealthy British owner who commissioned this thing even paid some large sum of money to have the AU1 license plate, referring to the periodic table symbol for gold. And if you know anything about British license plates, I mean, some of those I think have gone for over $1 million just for a license plate. So, you know, I usually yawn at a lot of these one-offs and stuff, especially the Rolls-Royce ones are sometimes a little boring because it's like technically every Rolls is a one-off and all this, but I mean, I don't even bother covering half of the one-offs that are out there, but this one to me is really a fun way to spend what is almost certainly several millions of dollars. You know, if I had obscene amounts of money, this is like the kind of stuff I could envision myself commissioning as well. And so I'm glad someone commissioned this. A very, very cool car, and very unique too, that color combo especially. But anyway, so very cool to see that. And lastly, I want to thank all of you that are members of the Matt Maran Motoring Club. So we did have one new member join on their own this past week, as well as several other new members that were able to join thanks to the very generous membership gifting. There was a lot of it going on in last week's live stream. So thank you all so much for your generosity, especially for the gifting here done by Jordan Yeager, Kyle, MDKN, Trigon Car Guy, and Linda Hamill. So thank you all so much for your generosity. I'm sure that all the new members and all of the members are able to rejoin. All are very, very thankful for your generosity as well. And I also want to give a big thank you to Christy Western, who also joined on her own. So thank you so much, Christy, for the support. I really appreciate that as well. And a big welcome here to all those other new members, too, that were gifted those memberships, including Rich G, Nate Dressler, Kibble Dog, Archie, Frank Swanson, D3RF, Brian B, Justin Brown, Tommy Mikan, and Cargod and Midnight. So I hope you're all enjoying those memberships perks so far, including looking forward to chatting with those of you who can make it to this week's live stream, where those members do always get that priority answering. And if you'd also like that priority answering, as well as all the other membership perks that come with being a member, there's always join buttons here on the video page, on the channel page, and a link in the description. Anyway, thank you all so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Please also leave a like and subscribe to keep these videos coming, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.